big up, and welcome to the Liverpool 12th Man Show. It's a little bit of a late kickoff for those of us that normally see us at the earlier hours, but we are live and direct right now. Hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully it's no issues or problems. Hopefully you don't see any of the golf carts going on in the background. It's a couple that took away my attention for a quick second, but bunch to talk about. It's a TGIF. If you hadn't seen it, I had it as a TGI RF, which is thank God it's Red Friday. Talk about some good stuff here. Put the ticker up as well if you're just joining us. We're going to talk about a surprise transfer target, name you won't see coming, most likely. Some are obviously going to, shoot it down and basically give it probably no real chances of actually occurring or happening, considering the level and prestige the player has and the club that he would be leaving and the contract that he has as well. Doesn't help either. But I'm going to say that as well. It's a case where, you know what, I honestly do believe that FSG, and maybe it's our American connection or not, but I believe that Liverpool watches our show some way, somehow. So it's always good for you out there to continue to give your opinions and give your thoughts. Keep it professional and respectful, of course, so that no one really gets too crazy and says something that they'll end up regretting. But we also have it's an interesting link, but I'll put it that way. I'll get more into it in a bit. I also, as you can see from the ticker, have a Trent Alexander-Arnold update. The latest on his contract, future, and those whether he'll be staying with the Reds or whether he'll be staying with Real Madrid. The whispers of that. Also, I have obviously some Reds rumors rundown. I would call it that, at least. I'll put that up as well here to give you an idea of what we got coming up. We have some Reds rumors rundown, all the transfer buzz, tactical whispers, blah, blah, blah. Well, the tactical whispers I'm going to keep for possibly tomorrow because there's something I have in the brewing in the cup right now. A little idea, I'll give you a little teaser. It's basically, it's something that I've been mulling over, something I mentioned earlier in the year as an option for this club, something I wouldn't mind seeing us possibly transition to, especially if this 4-2-3-1 isn't going to create and produce the types of goals that we're looking from these select positions and the likes. So, maybe a little transition or formation tweak here or there, maybe. Go back to some old school settings. I'll just leave it like that. And then also, obviously, I have a title chase. I have a title chase anticipation. The anticipation is growing as Sunday is looming, and this could be the moment that seals the big number 20. So we have that on tap as well. We might be able to be joined by some of our regulars on the show, but for right now, you got just me solo. So hopefully I'll fit the bill, hopefully. But yes, we might be joined. Brian, I know, is possibly going to be joining us later if he has the opportunity to hop on. We also have some others, obviously. I know Lee's going through a little something. And might or might not be able to join. So, might be. We always have a nice little hello from the crew one way or another. But for right now, as long as you're with us, that's the most important thing because we can get some actual dialogue and interaction between the chat really, really rocking and rolling. So let's just kick off things with some transfer hot heat. And I mean heat. Because this one is an absolute stunner. I don't know if FSG or maybe I should try to reach out and maybe have like a cigar session with John W. But whisper a couple transfer rumor thoughts into his mind. But according to multiple reports, Liverpool are seriously interested in Chelsea star. This is again someone that I had on the radar yesterday, or at least I mentioned when Brian brought up a great question, and that was the question of if you could pick if you could pick, I think it was originally 3, and he even upped it to 5 players currently playing in the Premier League. Which 5 players would you choose? This player was on my list, and according to multiple reports, Liverpool are seriously interested in Chelsea star Cole Palmer. That's right. According to multiple reports, a player who demanded to leave Manchester City just 2 years ago, that move to Stamford Bridge raised eyebrows at the time, but no one's questioning it now. For certain, he has turned into be a great player for them, a cornerstone player for them, a centerpiece player for them, if you want to call it that. Palmer's been absolutely electric. 39 goals, 24 assists in just 84 games for Chelsea, and he's still only 22 years old. That's not just promising, that's future elite status for this player. There was a report talking about, I believe the person's name is Clinton Morrison, called him world-class back in December, and honestly, it's hard to argue with Clinton, because that was something of that's a really great accomplishment by the young man. Now, here's where it gets spicy. And this is what I mean by this, the fact that it's hot news. And again, it's the reason why I say I think that someone on the board is obviously a Liverpool 12th man fan. Apparently, Liverpool and even Manchester City are both reportedly sniffing around, with City making an inquiry about bringing him back. Let me read that. Manchester City are inquiring about bringing Cole Palmer back. Now, I don't like our chances if it ends up being a bidding war, because you know that quite often we don't get into bidding wars. So that would be certainly a different thing. Let me move my microphone a little closer here. Hopefully you can hear me a little bit more better. But again, I don't think we don't normally get into bidding wars, but it is what it is. Big up to Rep for Life, by the way. We're the best football team in the land. Yes, we are, for sure. Tom, good to see you. And big up Norm. Big up Norm in the house. Big up Norm. Tom is saying players of Palmer quality will be linked to every club. Top club is just lazy reporting. Okay. I got you, Tom. But it is interesting to hear if this is multiple reports. It's not just one report. You know how like sometimes you'll see a report out there and big up Asian Reds in the house. Asian Reds, big up. Sometimes you'll see a report out there and it'll be just that, a report. Simple thought. Right here. And it's just a report. It's just one of those like far off, like someone from this, from that is reporting that, whatever. Okay, Red for Life, I'll bring that up. Let me start your question. Your question there. Pick up Jimmy, by the way. Pick up Jimmy. So it is interesting though, because what really piqued my interest in this story is we were just talking about Cole Palmer yesterday, literally yesterday. So that's what was interesting. That's what piqued up my interest. And also what even piqued up that interest was the fact that Manchester City, when I saw the Manchester City thing in there, I'm like, interesting, because got to keep in mind losing KDB. Will they rely on Foden to be that number 10 for them option? It's a big question. Okay. Oh, gosh, I got you. Asian Reds, I see you. Hey, it's all good. I'm getting my airtime buy it in case it does come down. How about that? How about that? But yeah, so it was interesting that Manchester City was involved in this rumor. So here's the question: would Palmer actually swap Chelsea blue for Liverpool red, or maybe even Chelsea blue for Manchester City blue? I guess it's like we call it Carolina blue here, or baby blue. I guess is what they call it here. Powder blue is what they call it sometimes too. Let's see. But there's this question. Apparently, and this is apparently according to the reports, apparently FSG are interested in Cole Palmer. They like the branding power with him. They like the fact that he's an incredible player, that he would offer some real upticks to our, or improvements, upgrades to our offense and to our team. And they would apparently be interested in dropping 85 M's for Cole Palmer. That's what it's going to most likely end up having to cost him. I'll ask you this in the chat too. 85 M's. Do you make that deal? Do you spend that kind of cash? 85 M's. A little bit. 85 M's. That's what they're reporting as being. Okay, good. Just making sure that the sun was coming in a little bit too much. 85 M's is what can get us the Palmer deal. Palmer would swap his. Yeah, I'm not going to repeat what he would swap, but just saying. Red for Life says no thanks. Let's see. My opinion, to be honest with you. My opinion. I would make that deal. I think Cole Palmer is an excellent player. I think he would fit well. I think he fit very well into this offense, into this team. He is certainly a big name to add, but he would be a name that puts him to the future. And then also maybe he's looking at it as like when he signed that original deal and he's got 10 years, he's only making, crazy money, the crazy money that he's got on the books going to him. That's well and good. But, when you sign those big deals and you're locked into a lot of those big deals, unless you have something where you're getting substantial increases in your salary is going to get outdated pretty quickly. And Cole Palmer's a player that obviously would be able to attest to a huge salary when it comes to his wage bill. So it's just interesting. We know Arne Slot wants some more firepower. We know Liverpool are eyeing upgrades in our attack. We've got some players that possibly might be leaving. Palmer could be a surprise name that bridges not only creativity, goals, and even, albeit it's a day that we'll all have to prepare for. That's going to be coming, not this year, as a lot of rivals want it, but the post-Salah era is eventually going to be upon us, and having a player like Cole Palmer wouldn't be a bad thing to do. 85 M's, tell me again if that's too much. Tom is asking, who do we drop for Palmer? I think it depends. Depends on two different things. Again, I don't want to give too much of a spoiler of the episode I want to do for the upcoming week. But if we do transition into possibly a different primary formation, then I think that we could possibly see something. We could possibly see a player like a Cole Palmer not necessarily have an impact on knocking someone from the starting lineup, more so being a complement to the starting lineup. And what I mean by that is the front line, there really isn't a front three that you necessarily say, oh, boom, they start every game. I know that we have Lucho. I know we have Cody. Obviously, Salah is a starter, plain and simple. But when it comes to our front three, that's a different story. But who knows? Maybe we won't be having a front three any longer. I'm giving away too many hints, too many clues, too many hints to that episode I got coming up. So, yeah, I think it would be good. I think it would be a good. Again, I'll ask it again. I know Red for Life said no thanks to Cole Palmer. Is it just no thanks to Cole Palmer, or is it no thanks to $85 million being the price tag that you would have to get to do for him? Yeah, I know. I just might Red Armchair Support. I might just have to. It looks like a lovely area, actually, by the way. Again, is it too much? Or would you rather see us like, it's not going to be 85 M's to get these other players, but is Cole Palmer necessarily worth 85 M's in your mind? Or would you rather us target someone like when you're getting into that range of money, it might be additional funds that we have to kick in, but all the same, it could be about that because it ends up being you'd have to go into euros to get some of these players, and 85 M's is pounds that I'm talking about, 85 million pounds. Would you rather target someone like a Florian Wirtz or a João Neves? And it's just my question to you. My question. So I'll put that into the chat so you can mull over it a little bit and mull over the questions here. Palmer link is weird. Alexander is saying. I don't. You know what's interesting about it is, I understand that he's their best player. Let's just be honest. There's some that might argue that Caicedo is their best player on Chelsea. They obviously spent a boatload of money for him, much more than Cole Palmer. But Cole Palmer is certainly a shout to say he is their best player. Red Armchair Supporter saying Palmer is good. Todd Bowley won't sell him though, probably on a 10-year. He is on a 10-year contract. It is a huge contract. I think he might be having some regrets in signing that 10-year contract, to be honest with you. I understand that the 10-year contract gives you a lot of stability and just security, knowing that for the next 10 years, you're going to be making X amount of money, for the next 10 years, regardless of whether you play or don't play. You'll have 10 years of your life knowing that you'll have security and have probably generational wealth coming to you. But all the same, it's 10 years. So that locks you in so long into a contract that it makes it very difficult to get out of when you think about it. If let's say that the direction of the program you're in isn't the direction that you want to go in, or maybe the coach isn't someone that you agree with, or maybe things sour wherever you're at. So yeah, that is a major question mark if it comes down to it. We got Brian in the green room. Well, he'll be joining us when he is ready. And I'd love to hear some more comments. Let me see if I have some more comments here. Norm says he would pay over $100 million for Cole Palmer. He thinks he is a brilliant player. He has 8 years left in his contract. He has vision, pace, great shots, a great shot, and is so at 22 is a very young player. Absolutely. I mean, that contract basically takes him to his 30s, which is a very interesting contract to be associated with. Let's see. I gave you Red Armchairs supporters comment. Big up to Philip too, by the way. I gave you Tom. Tom says Palmer's a fantastic talent. Wait for it. But there has to be a reason that Pep didn't fight harder to keep him at City. Well, Tom, I'll ask you this though: with Manchester City reportedly sniffing around for him, does that not say that maybe Pep has regrets, or maybe someone in the board has regrets in letting Cole Palmer go? I think that they do, to tell you the truth. I honestly think they do. And Warren Palmer, 100 million. Really? Okay. I was kind of thinking, yes, his price tag would be close to 100 million as opposed to 85 million. Okay. It could be closer to that number if it means a team like, Liverpool or Manchester City get involved in the actual transfer. Red Armchair supporter would take him. Okay. And then finally, Red for Life says he thinks Baleba would be a better option as he really feels Maka has great 10 abilities for slot system. He would love Baleba. He thinks we need that profile of a player more to round out our midfield. And Red Armchair supporter saying City definitely regret letting him go. I think they let him. I think they regret it as soon as he started to heat up, and as soon as I think Foden is a phenomenal player. Is a player I would take. I would take Foden as a red. To be honest with you, first thing I do is get him to a barber to get a real haircut, and then put him in a red kit for that picture tape. But it is what it is. I think it's more the board because the boat. I agree with that too, Tom. Completely agree with that. Completely agree. Hey Brian, how's it going? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Here,
I saw you in agreement. Now I see you out in front of the camera here. How are you doing today?
well, yeah, it could be better. I need a distraction, so.
Okay. I hope that things are going pick up for you. Not you don't have to disclose what it is, but I definitely hope that whatever it is, I hope that picks up for you. You've been sitting there and listening to some of the things I've been spouting out about. We talked about you asked. I was mentioning about how you had a great question yesterday about the three players, and then you upped it to five that you could take if you could take. This player was a part of my original three, but but he was still included in the five, and it looks like Cole Palmer is a actual target for Liverpool and Manchester City, by the way, too. So there's multiple reports out there that Liverpool and Manchester City are reportedly sniffing around to see with City making an inquiry about bringing him back, and obviously Liverpool making an inquiry about getting the player to play for us. 85 million pounds is the reported price tag that would be connected to the player. I put these questions in the chat too. I'll bring them up and put it here so that you can have kind of concept of what the general question I was bringing up for the chat and for yourself. And that is it a deal is it a deal worth making?
No.
No. That's surprising to hear. I know you're not.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of him as a player. I mean, he took off like a rocket at Chelsea,
Mhm.
I think they saw. I was going to say, I think they sold him for financial reasons, but I think they, yeah,
Meaning City, yeah.
PSR, FFP, whatever. Yeah, Pep definitely was not a fan of the idea of losing him.
Okay.
But yeah, that's one of those pure profit sales. So it was one of those ones, but yeah, they definitely regret it.
Mm-hmm.
They probably have some kind of an option, maybe, I don't know, um, to speak to him first or whatever. But I just don't see where he fits in our system. What
Mm-hmm.
that could be like going forward. I mean, the system I think we're going to start using. I don't know. Yeah, he's a very interesting one because he's not someone I would call positionally concrete, if you know what I mean. It's sort of like, is he an eight? Is he a 10? I know he's definitely a 10. Okay, but is he a 9.5? I'd be interested to see him as a false nine. would I see him as a midfield option? I really don't know. I really don't know. But as a goal scorer, yeah, he's gone off the boil a bit because he was phenomenal. Like he finished last season, he was finished runner up to Haaland in the Golden Boot. You know, it's no mean feat. I think he got 21. You know, so I don't think he's close to those numbers, but yeah, it's kind of a weird one, man. I can't uh didn't haven't paid as much attention to him this season. But is he an eight? Is he an eight? Is he a 10? Is he a nine? I mean,
He's not a nine. He's
a
not.
false
He's
nine. I mean, like a false nine, even like a
yeah. I don't even know
real
if
false nine.
I don't. I think if you try to put him as a false nine, I think that you would end up having a scenario, and this is all due respect. You'd have a scenario where you'd have a Kai Havertz possibly
Potentially,
with,
yeah. Well, we know we can finish.
with
At least
yeah, with a
we,
little better finish, better finishing ability, but possibly a little bit less physicality, you know, that you get with Havertz. But yeah, I don't. He is more of a 10 for me, I would think. I'd put him probably as a 10. 85 million though. It's not
no.
for not for a star of his making. That's not bad settings. I know it's a lot of money, but and it would be obviously the highest. It would be obviously the highest amount that we paid for a player. Um, but worth it in my opinion. Certainly worth it. Certainly.
Yeah, I'd love to see it, but if I don't know if I'd actually pull the trigger on it, if you know what I mean. I'd love to see if you could have it for free for a year and see how it
Mhm.
worked
Mhm.
and be like, oh, that's what we want to do with him, or oh, that's where we could play him, you know?
Mhm.
And that's what the plan would be with him. Uh, but it's just I'd just be really unsure about it on how it would work. I'm sure he'd be very good, but it's just is he a huge upgrade on the person he become? Because I'm not even sure who he would be quote unquote replacing in the squad if he did come in. But in
Yeah.
the original one, I know
He'd be
you were
replacing. I
saying,
think he was replacing. Not that's the, and again, not to cut you off. I was going to say because I was asked in the chat. I don't think he would be replacing Dom
yeah,
because I would think then you would find another place for Dom to play because of that engine because of you might be able to open up other skill sets that Dom could rely on. You maybe by not having Dom be so high up in that press, maybe you drop him back into that pivot or something, and then therefore he could just be a box to box midfielder or something along those lines. Or maybe you have him as a potential winger or something, someone that could end up giving Salah or maybe our left side's pretty loaded with the choices we have, but
yeah. I
maybe
don't think
Salah,
he's. I don't. Yeah, that's one place I couldn't see him is on the left.
right?
I
But
mean, your original question, I just found it there. Would you take Cole Palmer at Liverpool for 85 million? Is he worth it, or would you rather target someone like Florian Wirtz or Joe
right,
Neves?
yeah, I know you. I know that would probably wet your bill, yeah, on that one.
I
As soon
mean,
as you heard
give me
Floyd Wirtz,
both of them.
yeah,
Give me both of them. You can play João Neves in the 6. You can play Wirtz in the 10. I mean, that would be utterly transfer if they both worked out. And you added in, I mean, that's fantasy football, and sure you may as well just add in an Isaac as well on top while you're going, you know.
right,
Um, I would. João Neves is. We did the thing there last night. Wasn't as busy. Didn't quite kick off as well as the previous one, but there was still a few people in with
Mhm.
our tier list, and I had João Neves as. I think we only had 3 perfect signings that people thought would be perfect. Kimmich was a bit of a um, just a bit of a it's never going to happen, but sure, why not kind of thing. Um, but João Neves was right up there at the top.
Mhm.
Absolutely right. I would have him in a heartbeat. But yeah, he's not gettable Florian Wirtz is gettable if you walk into Leverkusen's offices and put 140 million quid on the table. Yeah, you can probably buy him. Well, that's a
Euros, right? It's
huge
not
chunk of change.
yeah,
A huge chunk of change.
yeah.
Um, so to me, the one that I think I really like the best to come in the midfield is someone like missed somebody mentioned it there, but Baleba.
Paleba is very, very
Baleba.
beloved by a lot of people.
Yeah, I'd be going for him. He's still very young, very young. He's still only 21, but a lot of potential. Wouldn't cost. I mean, you could go out and buy a Baleba and really kind of, look, it's every transfer is a gamble, but you can go out and get a player like him and not have spent 2/3 of your transfer budget on him. Like he's
Unbelievable. I
probably
wouldn't, but Brighton asked Brighton. We got fortunate with Maka that he had a buyout clause because he was going to leave them anyway for a free, but he had hooked them up by getting them at least some money. But I'm sure Baleba has some type of and he probably doesn't have a buyout clause, and he most likely Brighton love getting money for those players that these South American or even these international targets that they bring in. Because Baleba's what? Isn't he's Cameroonian? Isn't he?
Yeah, he's yeah.
These targets that they have that they bring in, they love getting those big price tags associated with them. I mean, whether it's Caicedo or they had another big one that they sold to Spurs, not too right.
They sold Lee Bassoum to Spurs for about 45 million.
Yeah, it's good money. Good money.
Yeah, I think Baleba 60. I think 60 would be good business for them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because you also want to tell players that if you come to us and you do well,
mm-hmm.
and a big club comes a knocking,
Mm-hmm.
we're not going to price you out of a deal. Like there was money was on the table for Sai. They knew they had players for Saicedo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, players in the market for him with Saicedo, so they knew they could push that. But they also have, it's kind of like the Red Bull way of doing things is like you say to a player, you come here, you do well. If after 2 years a big club comes in, we won't stand in your way. And one of the ways that we won't stand in your way is by saying, oh, you can have him, but he's 100 million, 120 for everybody. It's like, look, 45 million, 50 million. We've got you, say, for 17 million from Ron's or from some small club. If we get offered 50 from Barcelona, we'll take the money and we'll let you go. That's how we'll let you go.
Right. We're not being greedy, basically.
Yeah, they won't be greedy and fuck up your career by charging too much for you, basically.
Yeah. They understand their role in it. Because these reports that I'm speaking on are multiple reports for this whole Cole Palmer thing. Chelsea, one of the reports is coming from Chelsea insider Simon Phillips is one of the names. So in case you're wondering who are these ITKs that are saying it, that's Chelsea insider Simon Phillips, and there was a couple other ones too. Let me see if I can find the names in the article here. There are a couple other names. I don't see it off the top of the screen here, but there are a couple. There's like one or two other reports that were linking this move, and it's an interesting move. I know it's an interesting fit. I know that some people are kind of on the fence as to whether they would want to go and pursue this or not. I guess primarily, let's keep the context real. We're going to need some real creation makers for our offense if Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to be moving on to Real Madrid. Let's be honest. If we're losing Trent, it makes a big, big hole in our offense. I know a lot of people are like, oh, he's easy to replace, or oh, we can upgrade, or some people look at it as we can possibly upgrade in the position, or maybe they think of Cole Palmer. I was gonna say of Connor Bradley as a possible upgrade in that position. let's be honest. Trent Alexander-Arnold, his creativity, his vision, playmaking ability, especially from the deep position of right back, are irreplaceable. There's no fullback we can sign that can replace that. Period. Slot will likely go with a more traditional right back and replace creativity higher up the pitch, in my own humble opinion. That's how I see it. There's no way that, whether he stays with Bradley as our first choice, fantastic. I'm all in on utilizing Bradley as a first teamer. I think he has a great ceiling ahead of him, and I think he's a very, very good player. But he does not bring. It's not a knock against Bradley, but he does not bring you the same things that Trent Alexander does. So yeah, Cole Palmer maybe being put into that role up front where you don't have to necessarily rely so much on Trent or a player like Trent bringing you that kind of access or of offensive output. Could be something, right? That's how I'm looking at it, Brian. I know you're saying that you're a fan of the player, but you don't know how it fits into the system.
Yeah, just be a gamble. But yeah, we, whether it be, like you say, whether it be a false nine that replaces Jota, if it's a number 10, if it's somebody that plays deeper to allow McAllister to go into the 10, or if it's someone that is a much more creative version of Dominic Szoboszlai, but can do his work as well. That's 4 different ways of doing it, but whatever way we do it, we have to get more creativity into this team. Like, my least favorite one of that would be bringing in somebody that allows Mac to play in the number 10. Even though I think Mac would be a great number 10, I still think I'd still rather him just be a backup to that role and keep him in the 8. Ideally, I'd like us to bring in a number 10, a really creative player. And also, the striker thing is a different thing. But in whatever way we do it in midfield, we do need to get more creativity into this team. Just more natural creativity in the midfield. And obviously, with Trent, you will get creativity from Bradley, but like you said, in a much more orthodox kind of way, as in like that assist when he scored last season, when he scored and he got against Chelsea. I think he got a goal and an assist against Chelsea, and it was from just normal right back play, cutting down the right, getting to the right of the box and putting a decent ball in, a good ball in. And I think Diaz scored? I can't remember. But he set up real kind of orthodox right back play. Creativity there, but yeah, not from the long passing from Trent, those balls over the top. So that's easier replaced by, like what Tom is saying there, you can't replace Trent. So yeah, of course you can. So you don't try. Don't try and replace him because you can't replace him. So don't try. Do what you can do. Don't do what you can. Don't try and do what you can't do. Do what you can do. And you can, those long balls from the back, he's not the only person on the planet that can play a pass like that. He's one of the few that's out there as a right back, definitely. But players can play good passes. So you move that responsibility on to a player that you bring in midfield that's able to play those, to pick up the slack from that. Because yeah, don't ask Bradley to do it. Don't try and find a right back that plays like Trent, because you won't get one. But just be clever about it. Like, football existed before Trent and it'll exist after him. So you just get someone in midfield who can give you that extra, give you those long progressive passes, really good quality stuff. So it's about being clever. And yeah, but I love Conor Bradley. I think he's a world-class right back, and we'll be golden with him. Yeah, he won't be Trent, but we'll just adapt. Like I said, we won stuff before him, and we will win stuff after.
Not
having to go with Trent, not having to go with Trent.
No, it's not a goal. Yeah, we're going to transition into that Trent talk right now, but in like 2 seconds, actually end up this little conversation on Cole. But I just thought, creativity, vision, playmaking ability from deep are irreplaceable, obviously, like I said earlier. But Cole Palmer could, in theory, be part of that solution if we were to go and get a player that's a real goal threat, can link play, can float between the lines.
Would you want to help Chelsea out like that? Would you want to put 85 in Todd's back pocket and go, there you go, Toddy boy.
Yeah.
Well done. There's a
You
40
know
million pound
why?
profit for you.
I'll say this. I'm not necessarily, I don't want to help them out in that I want to help them out with getting them out of FFP problems. They'll figure out one way or another to get out of FFP problems or PSR problems now, which is what it's called. But they'll figure out one way or another, whether it's selling some asset that no one knew they had, But when it comes to helping them out, I see of it as us taking a player, and this is just, again, my humble opinion, us taking a player that is easily their centerpiece. He is easily the most noticeable name on Chelsea. And that Chelsea player says, yeah, I'm not with this Chelsea project. I want to be a part of Liverpool's project. That alone would be a humongous shout at the direction that we're moving. I think that would be enormous. Obviously, the English, the homegrown stuff is great and everything else, and you can have those aspects of it. But it would be a humongous shout if rather than the Trent Alexander-Arnold saying I want to play for Real Madrid, or the Diaz is saying I want to play for Barcelona. You have an English player that says, and I know Diaz isn't English, but you have an English player saying I want to play for Liverpool. That would be humongous. So. But we're going to transition.
I also don't want England players.
What's that?
I also don't want England players. There's also that. Yeah, homegrown is one thing.
If that you're on that story.
Yeah, but I don't want any English players.
I got you. But yeah, it would be
yes,
huge.
I know
I think if we were able to get that, if we were able to get that across the line, and also it'd be huge in that 85 million in the hands of Todd Bowley. Am I worried about him buying some player that's going to make a real transition for their club? No, not really. They'll figure out one way or another to bundle it on some player that ends up not really being a fixture piece for their team, but more so a player that's just a hot name that's trending, and they'll end up bringing him there, and he'll end up costing them a boatload. I mean, look at Enzo. Remember, that's the player, actually. That was another Brighton player. That was a big name. Got a big transfer fee that went with his acquisition, and Enzo has not amounted to that 100 million plus transfer fee. Good player, not saying he's not, but I would argue with anyone to say he is a player that is worthy of the number that was associated with his name. I'd love to hear that argument. But there has been transitioning a little bit on transition on let me put this banner back to the original so people know what I'm talking about. Transitioning back to the Trent Alexander update. Well, it's time we face what many of us didn't want to believe. Reliable reports from David Ornstein and now Fabrizio Romano have now made it clear that Trent Alexander-Arnold is still expected to join Real Madrid this summer, despite the hope, despite the celebration at Leicester, despite the badge tap, despite everything we wanted to read into the story isn't changing, however. Romano said it best. Apparently, the deal is in the final stages, just waiting for the formal steps. At this point, it's no longer about if, it's about when. The Leicester moment, hope or farewell, if you want to call it that, when Trent scored the winner against Leicester, the roar, the passion, the shirt, taking the shirt off and putting on the corner stick. It all felt like a statement. I know a lot of people out there are really reading into it. this was possibly, and it was just not the statement we wanted, though. This is possibly Trent's goodbye, done his way. Emotional, proud, but unmistakably a final statement of thank you and good night. I don't know if that warrants possibly taking down this mural behind me, as Bajan Barnes earlier asked or earlier stated. But there's been a real split amongst supporters. Huh?
Grumpy Bayesian, is he?
Yeah. He was saying that that mural's coming down or something like that earlier. But there's been a real split among supporters. Some wishing Trent well. Obviously, despite the fact I don't want to see the player go, I still am in my heart knowing that of all the things he's provided for this club, and I'm an appreciative fan and supporter of the lad. So again, there's some wishing him well, understanding his desire for a new challenge. There's some feeling betrayed, especially when Trent leaving on a free. Some somewhat in the middle, heartbroken but accepting. I guess I'm kind of in the middle a little bit. I am heartbroken that this player wants to choose a team that is not the red, not wearing the red of Liverpool. But there were a few fans. I know that Norm said he didn't hear the fans do it, but there were a few fans that booed him when he came on. Jamie Carragher said it best on Stick to Football. He said, quote, never boo a player in your kit. Never boo a player in your kit. He's still playing for Liverpool. He's played his part in winning us the league. You don't boo your own players. And I can agree with that.
Yeah,
it's very difficult sometimes, especially in the internet world where you have interactions with people and you can tell that they're not fans of some players. They take it way beyond the measure of respect for a player that is a Liverpool Red. That's primarily a lot of times when you see me going back and forth with your with some of the other content creators out there, and being called a defense league for some of these players. It's more so I'm a defense league for Reds players in general. I feel as though it's very, very weird to be fighting sometimes against your own brethren about your own team. And that's weird sometimes. Maybe in more social, confined, more confidential circles, you can talk about the players the way you want. But yeah, when you're in public and you got company around, whole different story, people. Whole different story. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Is this the closing of the chapter? Trent Alexander-Arnold's helped us lift us back to the top of English football. We've won Champions League with him. We've won a Premier League, possibly two. We've won a Club World Cup. We've won an FA Cup. We've won a League Cup. And that's all before this player has even turned 27 years old. He has spent the greater part of his entire life with us, basically. And after everything he's given, I'm hoping he gets a proper farewell at Anfield. So real quick, I'll ask this question. If this is the final chapter for Trent Alexander-Arnold, should we offer him a formal farewell game, or is it should Liverpool offer a formal farewell game or a tribute match if the timing allows? Should we do something like that, or do you just kind of say we would have done that if you left us with some money in the coffers? What do you think? What do you think, Brian?
Well, there's a lot of stuff you were talking about before that I have opinions on.
Oh yeah, go ahead if you want to comment on that.
Well, the thing is, nobody knew what that celebration meant. Of course, you didn't know. To me, it just seemed like I just said whatever it was and whatever it means, it's real, because you can't fake that emotion. Some of it, with the shirt and all that could have been very staged looking and very kind of OT, but it was all 100% completely real. Whether it was a fuck you for doubting me, whether it was a I'm leaving, goodbye, thanks for the memories, whatever it was a real celebration. And to me, I think at the time I said that to me said, look, I might be leaving,
Mm.
um, but if you think I don't care, if you think I never cared, if you think I'm a snake, if you think my reputation is tarnished, I think um, it said, if you think any of that, then this is to you because this is how I feel about this club. Like no one out there can tell him how he feels about this club, only he can.
Right.
So to me, it seemed like it was definitely he was going, but it was like I'm not, I'm not slinking out of here. I'm not snaking out of here. I'm not leaving because I think this club is whatever. This club means everything to me. But I decided on a new chapter in my life, and so don't ever doubt. I think it said to me, it said, "Don't ever doubt my passion." It said, "Don't ever doubt me and how much I care." That's what that celebration said to me. Um, but the other thing then, like with Cara, like I said in the chat there, if problem with Cara and Sky is if he comes on and 10,000 people cheer him, but 50 people boo him, they'll just talk about the 50 people. Because that's the story. Oh, there was fans were booing him. Yeah, there was 10,000 people were singing whatever the Trent song is. Yeah,
Yeah.
and some 50 people were like booing him. They'll just talk about the 50 people that booed him because
Sure.
that's more of a story.
Sure.
So I think that's really disappointing. I've really lost a lot of faith. Like Cara and Neville used to be good on Monday Night Football back in the day, but now they've just turned into internet clowns, to say stuff. I just really gone off them.
Okay.
Um, they're just doing stuff they're just there to churn out content constantly. And I know that's all we do the same thing, but they should be held to a higher standard. I think every now and again they'll come out with some decent stuff, but Karen knows what he's doing and he'll be told what to say as well half the time, or at least what to talk about.
Mm.
Uh, but yeah, the trend, like if there was back in, no, I don't think there'll be any kind of send off game for him. I mean, the days of the testimonials are long gone now because players don't need the money. Basically, that used to be a kind of if you retired kind of thing.
Yeah.
You get
Yeah. Yeah.
testimonial one last payday, but now the players were so wealthy they started
I guess
feeling a bit
I
kind of
meant
thing.
something similar
But
to what we gave.
they
Something very
started doing.
similar to what we gave to Klopp. Something similar to what
Oh,
we gave to
no,
when
basically.
Pip left, when Thiago left, when like when those kinds of things, or when Otts left. We gave one even to we gave recognition even to Naby.
Oh,
So
well, they'll get that things happen in different ways. I don't think there'll be an organized game though, as it were. But
hmm.
if
But those
I just
players
think
are a
it's
little bit different setting. I'll let you finish. I didn't mean to cut across you.
no, I just
Finish.
mean in 5, 6, 10 years time, when he comes back, I just think with the benefit of a little bit of time, um, any kind of ill feeling towards him would probably like I just really hope he's welcome back at Legends games, all
Right. I
that
know
kind of stuff.
that. Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
kind of thing. I don't think he should be one of those pariahs or, like I don't know, unless he comes back with Madrid and knocks us out with the Champions League in the
Right.
semi-final with it.
Exactly.
I mean, that
Yeah.
might be pushing it a wee bit then, you know what I mean? But
No,
like
I've seen
scores the
one of
winning free kick, but
I've seen one of my most favorite Reds of all time leave this team, go to not only to a team that plays in the Premier League, but also a rival team, a grown rival team in Chelsea. And I'm speaking on El Nino. El Nino is one of my favorite players, and to have seen him have a blue kit absolutely was horrific for me. We got a lot of money for him as opposed to no money, what we're getting for Trent. But still, it was very difficult. And there was a lot of time that had to go under the bridge, I guess, for some other fans to look at, or even mention his name, much less see him come back for, like you said, those legend games or something like that. I'm asking the tense of, let's be honest, this player, Trent Alexander-Arnold, is a player that has played since what he was 6 years old, I think, or something like that, right? Um, his earliest years of playing football is in a Liverpool kit. We've watched and watched this. It's almost like the Truman Show. We've watched this young man grow from a child into a young man, and now this young man is staged to make one of the biggest steps in his career, and that is picking a team that he wants to join and be part of that has some very, very incredible status amongst the European elites. And he's a Scouser. So it's one of those things. I get it. I know I saw a comment earlier, I think from Liverpool videos, that said something about, are you, tribute game, no tribute, are you kidding? I mean, it's an interesting predicament we find ourselves in, because, hey, there are players. It's not like I'm saying we need to, Balotelli is leaving, we need a tribute game for Mario Balotelli, who I liked. That was a player I liked, by the way. But disappointed me as a Red, but all the same. But that's my point. It's like, when I'm not talking about someone on those lines. I'm talking about an actual Scouser. I'm talking about someone that's lifted every trophy you can imagine. Is possibly going to be able to lift this Premier League trophy twice in his career. I mean, possibly, give the young man, a proper send off, maybe. No.
I don't. But I'm genuine. What is a tribute game? Like, is it a game that happens when the season is over? I've never heard of a tribute game. I know testimony.
Like the Jurgen Klopp thing was a tribute game. It didn't matter if we won or lost. It was more about the end. Any game that has a ceremony at the end of the game is a tribute game. I think that's the best way of putting it.
So at the end of it would be a league game. It'd be an actual league game.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, it'd be like there'd be a big kind of thing with Trent or something. Like a presentation with him, or he gave a speech and saying goodbye kind of thing.
No, you might have like presentation, or you might have like some type of like photos of him.
Not like, I mean, it's not like us versus Madrid.
Like a whole like PowerPoint presentation type thing. So somewhat similar to what you
I hear what you mean. No, I get what you mean now. I just thought you meant like an actual, like an arranged game against like Atletico Madrid or something. It was like the Trent tribute game or something. I know, I get what you mean though. Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna get what else I was saying to Pops, like the whole thing. Testimonials used to be, when back in the day, players, like, they earn good money, but they didn't earn like the millions that they earn now, and it was like one last payday. They got.
I wasn't talking about that. Yeah, I wasn't talking about this.
No. But then what they did was, because they started earning so much money, they kind of kept doing them for a little while, but they'd give the money to charity. But then they just kind of stopped doing them. So testimonials don't really happen. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's like if at the end of it he like gave a speech, came on the pitch, that kind of thing. Maybe you could have a, like, I wouldn't. Yeah, basically, if I was in the crowd for that, I wouldn't be booing. I wouldn't be booing them.
Maybe it's a share. I don't necessarily just say that maybe Trent gets one solely by himself. If he were, that would be very, very significant. But I mean, like, maybe it's a shared one, because this other player I was going to mention that might be on his way out, unfortunately, and is a player that we all appreciate. There's no guarantee that he's out on his way out, but these injuries and the fact of him being unable to continue with us is troubling, or at least disappointing. And he's a player that is on the verge of coming back, by the way. And that's, let's take a moment for a player who, no matter what the future holds, deserves every bit of our respect. And that is Joe Gomez. As Liverpool stand just 1 point away from a historic 20th league title, we're already looking ahead. Arne Slot is preparing for a big summer, new signings, big deals, new era, all that glitz and glamour and jazz. But part of that reality means some familiar faces will likely move on, and one of those faces might be Joe Gomez, someone who is the longest serving Red amongst us today. he is someone that no matter what you say, I would like to see him get some type of proper send off because I think that Joe has given nothing but his heart and soul for this team. Has had to battle back from some incredibly difficult, injuries that he's sustained over his career. We could take a look back at his career real quick. It's a story of basically two halves. At his best, he was outstanding, crucial part of our Champions League. And some sometimes forget about that fact that he was the center half pair for Virgil in those campaigns. For our Champions League campaign, Premier League winning squads, he was a part of that. He's a defender who could play anywhere across the back line, right back, right center half, left center half, left back. Calm, quick, intelligent with the ball. When he played for Trent right back, there was times when you could almost see like the Trent Alexander-Arnold influence because he was, all of a sudden he put in another aspect of his game, heightened to another level his aspect of the game. But the injuries obviously made a difference. Injuries have robbed Joe so many prime seasons, and sadly this year has been no different. And this could be his last year as a Red. So Gomez started the season strong, stepping up when Konate got injured and holding the line alongside Virgil. It looked like he was back, ready to fight for his place again. But then on a couple days after Christmas against West Ham, obviously disaster struck. Since then, he's had just one appearance with that hamstring injury that he had, 10 minutes in the FA Cup against Plymouth. And according to Slott's latest press conference, Joe's only maybe ready for the final one, if not two games, if everything goes perfectly. So it feels heartbreakingly like the end is close for Joey, unfortunately. I think he deserves more than a quiet exit, though, as I spoke on earlier. If this really is Joe Gomez's end, he deserves so much more than quietly disappearing off the team sheet. He deserves a standing ovation, obviously, at Anfield. I think he deserves us as followers to absolutely commend his service online. He deserves that moment with the Cop. 10 years, one club. Let me repeat that. 10 years, one club. One of Klopp's first ever signings, too. If we wrap up the league early, and fingers crossed we do, and I hope Slot gives him that goodbye, a real one on the pitch in front of the people who watched him grow. So I'll ask this, Brian. Should Joe Gomez stay one more year, or is this the right time for him to exit the team?
Oh, no, the right time for him to leave was last summer. That was the right time for him.
Okay.
New start.
All
Yeah,
right.
he would have had a new start. He would have had a new club. He might, things would have played out differently. Maybe he doesn't get that injury. So he's basically just wasted another year here. Does he get that interest? Does he get?
Can I ask you this question?
So, yeah,
I get that you. Oh, sorry. Oh, you want to finish it up then? I'm sorry.
Well, no, I was trying to formulate one. I was trying to answer the question.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, should he leave this summer? Yeah, of course he should. Of course he should. He's not going to play. If he ain't going to play, sorry. Yeah, if he's not going to play, then you just move on. You just move. I think he's lost the chance of a decent move because he's another year older and another year injured.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's really unfortunate. Look, it's hard to say with someone who has people have had worse careers. I was going to say one of the unluckiest players, but he is unlucky. He's had an amazing career and he's won stuff at Liverpool, so he's not that unlucky. But he can't really catch a break the last few years. Some like Jota, some like him. That's the old. I mean, this is pre-Klopp stuff. And it's not about, again, people being bad players, people being good players. It's about refresh, re-energize, bring, just changing things and for the better, for not just for the sake of it, but new energy. So hopefully he can get 2 games under his belt. I don't know. There isn't really anything in the summer to prove his fitness. So you're just looking for a club that's prepared to take what would be a gamble on him and give him a decent wage and pay decent money. So yeah, last summer I think was the perfect time for him. If that move to Newcastle had gone through, he'd probably be a lot better off that way. So yeah, I feel sorry for him. I genuinely do because, like you said, it gets pretty much lost in the ether, the sands of time, that it was him and VVD that won that league. It wasn't him stepping in for Matip. It was him and VVD. There was no Ibu. He was the guy that formed our first Premier League winning partnership at the back, and it totally gets forgotten about because he's been here so long. He plays so many different positions, and he's been out injured so much. But yeah, when you see him when he's got like 6, 8 months of football under his belt, you see how good he is. But yeah, just incredibly unlucky. You're on mute.
I must hit the by accident. I did say one of Klopp's first signings. I met Brendan
Yeah,
Rodgers for
Brandon. Yeah,
Brendan Rodgers first signings in 2015 is when he signed them. Um, uh, but certainly one of Klopp's most uh, important players when it came to uh, relying on a player for influence in the locker room, relying on a player for the ability of always giving his best and everything he can on the pitch. And that was Joey Gomez. He's had a lot of ups and downs when it comes to performances here and there. He's had some horrible, horrible performances. But, for him to take it as a measure of recognizing the mistakes and recognizing the pitfalls that he was in and climbing out of them and regaining status to be a contributor to the team. That's all we really wanted to see, and that's what we really, really got from Joey.
3.5 million quid.
Yeah, yeah,
Like even when we got him, like that was basically that was peanuts. That was okay. Some guy 3 million. Well, he can't be any good.
right.
That was tiny money for
Charlton
even for
Athletic,
smaller
right?
clubs.
Charlton Athletic.
Charlton, yeah, yeah, lasted. He lasted. Brendan lasted. The only player to be there from the day Klopp walked in the door to the day he
Yeah,
walked out the door. The only
yeah,
player. I mean, there was Trent was around,
yeah.
in the unders, but as a senior player, the only one that was there, which is incredible achievement. Really, absolutely incredible achievement. Which is why I say, like, I don't feel like devastated unlucky for him because he's had an amazing career.
Right,
Like I'd
right,
take his career,
right.
But I'd just love to see him even go to Italy or something. I'd love to see him go to
Okay.
Italy.
Okay, I was going to ask you real quick because we're going to transition quickly to this last topic, and that is, where do you see him landing if he leaves Liverpool?
Yeah, I think I've already just talked myself into it, but yeah, like I think the rigors of the Premier League might be probably not the best idea for him. To
Okay,
try and build up his fitness again to go right back into an even more overworked, say, team that will be Fulham, Brighton, Forest, maybe that have a lot more defensive work to do. In this strong league might not be ideal. I think you look at someone like Kyle Walker, um, going to AC Milan. I think that's what I that's what I'd like to see. Something like that would be very good because it would enable him. He'd have a high profile over there. They don't mind that. They don't mind taking on a player like that. Um, not a flashy name, not a big name, if you know what I mean. They can see a player there. What would you get him for a decent fee? I think that'd be a really good move from Lazio, AC Milan, that kind of thing.
Dustin's saying West Ham. I think so. I mean, maybe a little bit closer to home. He probably would like as well.
Well, if
Uh,
you want to go back to London, I mean, I just think the Premier League. I think if with all the injuries he's had, I just think maybe something with a slightly slower, like the Italian game, I think would really suit him as well. He's a clever footballer. Um, I just don't. Yeah, I think if he went to a West Ham, we all know what happens to people who go to West Ham. That's just a car crash of a club. All this has been. Um, yeah, I can't pick. I can't. I find it hard to pick an English team for him. I really do.
Mhm.
This season, it shows you how quick football changes. Because last season it was like, yeah, he could go here, he could go here. Maybe last season I would have picked him as being perfect for a club like Fulham or Crystal Palace.
Mhm. Okay. All right. All right. Well, we only have one more segment that I wanted to include, and that's just something that I've seen in the journals. I've seen this, and again, any of these topics that we discussed, whether it's Cole Palmer, whether it is obviously Trent Alexander-Arnold, or even the Joe Gomez comments or discussion, please do. If you want to bring something up, please do leave them in the comments section after the show. We do our best to always answer anything that you guys bring up. Bro, can you hear me? I hear everyone, by the way. And Tom,
Well,
was it? But and I don't know who that is.
no, we
Uh,
can't hear you. We can read you. We can see your comment, but we can't actually hear
oh,
you.
maybe is that someone maybe through Discord? Maybe is that someone through the Discord? I just set up Discord for the channel. Maybe that's someone on Discord.
No idea.
Okay.
No idea. AGF. Not seen that name before, so I don't know.
New name. Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
So,
But in Gomez's defense, this is what Tom is saying. But in Gomez's defense, he has never been right since his international duty injury, just like Sturridge. That's tough.
England, man. England break our players. Always have. Always will.
They do.
If they don't break them physically, they break them psychologically.
Yeah, maybe so. There is another subject I wanted to breach on our last, like I'd say we got about 15 minutes left of the show here, and that is this. I'm going to bring up. Let me bring up the picture of the player actually as well, to give you kind of an idea of who we are talking about. And so this is the player that we are talking about, a player from a team that actually is a team that FSG was reportedly interested in possibly purchasing in their multi-club efforts. And Liverpool are reportedly tracking Brazilian right back Wesley Franco. Now, we were just talking about, big up to K-Mac, by the way. Shout out to K-Mac. Even big up to Lee WizKid as well. Big up. Reportedly, Liverpool obviously have a summer rebuild to do for some positions. And that could include some serious Brazilian flair. Let's bring in a little bit of talk about the samba. All right. So according to reports out of Brazil, including RTI Esporte, Liverpool are actively showing interest in Flamengo's Wesley Franco, a young fullback described as bullet fast, quote unquote, and full of promise. That'd be exciting. That'd be exciting to see. Maybe he's a right back that we offer as a alternative to the approach of not having to, having some type of relief for Bradley and not having to just solely put Bradley and the likes. But his agents, why I'm saying about this is that his agents currently are in England, people. Wesley's representatives are currently in England, meeting with Premier League clubs, including Liverpool FC, to discuss potential summer moves. They're not just here for dinner and drinks, obviously. You don't fly all the way out to England for a nice gin and tonic. They're touring training grounds, assessing clubs, long-term projects, laying the groundwork for some real negotiations. You're probably asking, biggest question of this is, what is show me the money? That's probably what you're asking or saying. Show me the money. No official bids yet, but Flamengo reportedly want around 35 million euros, which is about 30 million pounds, I believe. Um, why I think Wesley Franca fits Liverpool rebuild is this. Obviously, Trent Alexander-Arnold's departure for Real Madrid looming. Liverpool would need a new profile at right back, one that could accent uh, uh, Bradley at that right back position, push him for the role as well. Slot system won't be built around a playmaking fullback like Klopp's was. It would be more suited towards an. It'll be about athleticism. It'll be about speed. It'll be about structured buildup. Um, Here's what Wesley brings. He brings incredible pace, cover ground quickly. He's an attack-minded but disciplined defensive player. In 2025, his stats, only 5 games I'm going to talk about really in 2025, but in 5 games, he had an assist, he had 3 goal-creating opportunities or actions in just 450 minutes. Remember, this is why I'm speaking on this player specifically, because he's only 21 years old, and he's locked into a Flamengo contract until 2028. 2028 is when his contract expires, so this wouldn't be a bargain bin pickup. This would be a statement investment, similar to what Madrid did with maybe Rodrigo, something like that, when they picked up a player early in his career before he was heavily on everyone's radar. Why this pick is something of an interest is because, of course, this team's going to obviously be thrown into the bin. Don't mean it's not Chelsea, don't worry. But of course, it wouldn't be the Liverpool summer without Manchester City sniffing around the same player. Reports say that Pep sees Wesley as a potential long-term successor to the recently departed Kyle Walker. So if we wanted him, we're going to have to move quickly. This could come down to Project Vision. Wesley's agents are touring, so Slots Liverpool would have to, or Slots Liverpool vision would have to obviously be a selling point to the player. And you would have to make a vested trust in young talent. If we're going to bring this player in, we need to show we're the better platform for this development. And I think that we always are by what we see these players amount to. Brian, I know you don't necessarily watch probably a lot of Brazilian football, but would you take a 30 million pound gamble on Wesley Franca to replace, or to be not necessarily a replacement for Trent, but certainly a player that could be a platoon player possibly with Bradley at that right back spot?
It's probably one of the most difficult positions. People aren't really talking about it, but if, like we're saying, like Joey's going to go. Even if Joey isn't going, he's not the future. He's not going to play. He's not a starting right back for us. Kwanzaa, who knows what's going to happen there? Who knows? So many different kind of ideas going around there, but even still,
He's not right back.
he's not a starting right back for us, right? So that leaves you Connor Bradley. So we've got Connor Bradley. If you want to start Connor, if you want to say we're doubling down on Connor, Connor's our guy, so we need another right back. Obviously, Trent is leaving, Kwanzaa isn't that, Gomez might leave. You need a right back to cover Bradley. So what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
How do you buy that position? I think that's one of the hardest, because if you buy someone who's good enough to start, experience, because you have one kid, so you don't want 2 kids, so you get an experienced guy. Okay, well, what's that going to cost you? Is he going to want to play? Is he going to be happy to sit on the bench behind Connor Bradley? Okay, so what's the other option? You go out and you get another Calvin Ramsey, who's 18, completely unproven. What happens when Connor Bradley's out for 3 months? It's really, really difficult to know what to do. How do you get someone?
It's a gamble.
Yeah,
It's a
but
gamble.
what way? It's I'm saying it's like, do you go with the do you like I'd almost be going down like the 30-year-old guy route, you know, who would
It's
be
a
happy to
gamble.
just play for,
The gamble.
and
I
just
think that I think it depends on Kwanzaa's future. It depends on obviously Trent, pretty much one foot out the door, but it depends on Joe Gomez's future, all of which we spoke on. Um, and if those players are leaving, if Joey does leave, if Kwanzaa even particularly possibly leaves, then you do have. I don't think, unfortunately, Ramsey's probably not going to be that reliable resource at right back that we were hoping he would probably pan out to be. Um, Other than that, there's no. I don't think. I
no.
don't see a deal for Frimpong in the making coming our way. So
Well,
who
he'd
do
be
we
decent
rely?
because he could like Frimpong for me would work because you could basically have Bradley as your starter. Because like what I'm doing is I'm basing all of this off the fact that the club has decided and Slot has decided that Bradley's going to be the number one right back next year,
Mm,
right? So how do you back him up? What's his kind of backup player going to look like?
mm,
You've got to find someone who's happy to sit on the bench, basically. And that's really hard to find. Someone who's good enough to play, but happy enough to sit on the bench for the majority of the games that Bradley is fit to play in the Premier League. But if you had someone like Frimpong, then you've got cover for Salah, and you got cover for Bradley. So there's a lot more games there
mm.
for someone like Frimpong. Minutes, there's a lot more minutes. You could bring
Now, are
Frimpong
you
on it.
saying that because Frimpong plays in Europe, or because you maybe seen a little bit more of his game? Because I
No,
mean,
no,
he's
because
still
no, I'm
Frimpong.
just saying because he can cover two positions.
No, I get
So
that. I was just
yeah,
asking if you're. I was asking your confidence in Frimpong being able to transfer that talent to Premier League. It's always a question mark whenever you're dealing with a player that you haven't seen play inside of the league constructs. So obviously, this player Franca is a gamble. It's a very big gamble because he's a South American player playing in a league that's
oh
very
well, I've
much
forgotten about
suited
Wesley.
and everything
Sorry.
else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what I was trying to figure out.
Oh yeah, those guys. Yeah, it's a very Chelsea
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
signing. You very yeah, completely. Like the guy could come to England and hate it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it can take is the guy not to settle in the country. Forget about football and ability. You can just be
Everyone's
that.
this Anya player, as everyone was
Yeah,
talking.
like that's a good shout. Like an older player going to the biggest club he's ever going to be at, thinking he hasn't quite made it. That would work as a backup. That would really work actually. Someone that's happy to be at the club, um, and can do a really good job if he was coming. Yeah, that's actually a good shout. But it's just you could flip it on it. You could flip it on its head really easily and go, no, we're going to go out and buy a starting right back. And Bradley's going to back. Then it's a much easier transfer. Well, then just go out and buy a really good right back. But it's like it's really complicated. If you want to start Bradley and cover him without hindering him and without wasting a player that comes in, it's a really awkward kind of transfer to make. Sometimes it's obvious, we just need a guy here. We'll go out and buy this guy. It's like, how do you fit in? I just think it's gone under the radar as a really difficult transfer that we have. We have to get it right this summer to make that. Because I don't, even if they stay, I don't want Kwanzaa and Gomez backing up at right back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that. I just think if Wesley, it is Wesley, right?
Mm-hmm. It's
Yeah.
Wesley.
Wesley, I've heard his name
Wesley.
mentioned a couple of
His
months
full name is
ago.
that's his first name, but Wesley Franca.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen his name mentioned, not recently, but a few months ago. I've seen people talking about him
Oh, okay.
as, a potential, it just in our chat, I mean, people bringing up a name that was brought up as a right back.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you want to bring in two, or you just want to go old school and say Bradley, Wesley, go battle it out. Best man wins.
Yeah.
That's cool. That works for me. That works for the club. You've got two people trying to be the best. I think it's a really good shout though. Just coming in as cover free, knows that he doesn't expect to walk into this Liverpool team, happy to fight for his place, pick up minutes here and there. If you couldn't do that, if you brought in Frimpong would, I think, work in a way where, again, he could cover Mo Salah on the right wing, and he could also cover Bradley. That's a good way of getting him minutes. Wesley, I like that. That's, again, good young attacking right back. Excellent. Bring him in, see how he does. So
I don't mind bringing. I
lots of
mean,
options. Lots of
there's a lot of
options.
options. I see this player very similar to. He's a project player, obviously, but extremely young, 21 years old. The more I've read about him through, albeit I watched some Brazilian games, to be honest with you, because I think that it's an exciting league, to be honest with you. But I have seen a little bit of this particular player's play, not as much as I would be able to say, oh, I'm an expert on this player, but I have done some research with FB Rep 2 as well, like, reading the scouting reports on him. He is a talented player. I think it'll be interesting. You know what? When I think of this player, I think of a player not nearly as much baby oil or the likes or the big bustling build of, but I would certainly say the speed of an Adama Torre, a player that has extremely fast pace on that right back wing. I'm still on board with us going for the young man, he's a U.S. men's national team player, albeit, so call me a biased representative for that. But he did play in Barcelona. Unfortunately, it didn't work for him in Barcelona. And I was thinking of like a player like Serginho Dest, actually, as being a possible option that we would possibly pursue. He's a player that is working his way back to fitness. But by the time we would be interested in pursuing him, to probably get him for a very, very reasonable rate. He hasn't played for PSV yet. They ended up bringing him back home, technically, because he is a dual national in that he is a Dutch player. But Dest has the ability to cross, has speed, has the ability to be creative with his dribbling. I think he'd be a fantastic addition to Liverpool. He's a player I like, but I think Wesley Franca might not have some of the higher skill sets that I just mentioned about Dest, but I also think that he exceeds Dest when it comes to speed and pace when it comes to that right side. So it would be something that I'd be very interested to see one way or another. Those are the two names I would put out there as being a possible fit for us on that right side. Just so if anyone's wondering what I'm thinking. But Brian, before we end up bringing us to a close, we're coming in on the 90th minute of this game, of the show. What is it, anything that's on your mind that you want to talk about or maybe bring up, or anything that you'd like to speak on?
Oh well, there wasn't anything. Sorry, in particular today. No, not a lot happening. Yeah, sorry. No, I haven't been paying much. The last couple of days, I haven't been able to really pay much attention.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, sorry, I didn't have anything ready to go there.
No, nothing ready. Okay, no worries. I know you've got a lot on your plate right now that you're dealing with, so understood, understand, and we are getting closer and closer to that. I'm gonna call it Super Sunday. Is that a name that hasn't been taken out there yet?
Oh, Sky has been doing Super Sunday for about 25 years now. So sorry, yeah, that's long taken.
How about Spectacular Sunday?
You never. They've been doing so long.
Sunday
It might be out.
Spectacular. That one I can get. Can I get coins on that?
Haven't heard it yet. Maybe there's a reason.
No, maybe so. But yeah, we're looking at something that is going to be phenomenal, and that is Sunday. Sunday. There you go.
Red Sunday. It's called Red Sunday.
There you go. There you go. That's a good one.
Has a bit of Tarantino about it, a bit of danger about it.
Yeah. That would be great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
But yes, Sanctuary Sunday. Okay. Any given Sunday. Okay. Yeah. If you can in the comments, come up with what your term, what your name for Sunday is going to be. You know, maybe Sunday Serenade. Maybe that could be it. You know, the Sunday sermon. Well, tell me what you're going to be calling Sunday as we get closer to possibly creating a 20 piece. But I'm not talking about nuggets. Sensational Sunday. I like it. Sensational Sunday. Our Sunday, Dustin's saying. I like it.
Slot
it's
Sunday.
Slot
for the
Sunday.
JKs. For the JKs out there.
Yeah, that's a good one. Slot Sunday. Celebration Sunday, Pops is calling it. Okay, I got you. How many is he? He's on 18 assists, right now. He needs what? 2 more to break the record, or 3? Is it 2 more or 3 more to break the record?
I think 2 to tie.
2 to tie, 3 to break.
I think so. Hang on.
So yeah, get a little hat trick of assists for Salah would be fantastic. That would be a celebration in itself too. Edwards calling it Liverpool Sunday. Okay, a lot of names, a lot of good ones too. By the way, the best, just like as Dawson said, is the most important is it'll be our Sunday. Hopefully, one way or another. I don't believe that Trent. I don't believe that. Tottenham have what it is going to be needed to get to play spoiler, considering that a draw or a win is all we need on this Sunday. So it's going to be an early one. I'm going to do my best to I'm on like I'm on one leg right now, I guess you could say. So I'm gonna do my best though to hobble my way down to the supporter club. Shout out to Crown Public House. Hopefully they hear that. I know some of my supporter club fellow members watch the show, and be a part of that on Sunday. Be able to like kind of bring in what it's going to be like to possibly, all join in arms and sing "You'll Never Walk Alone" as we watch us get number 20. That'd be fantastic. So, yes, a couple minutes over. We will have predictions. I will be doing a pre-show, or I'll be doing a preview show tomorrow on Tottenham. I'm not sure if Pops in the chat. I'm not certain if he has a show coming up. Normally, Pops and Beijing, the Beijings have normally a show on Friday. That's going to be coming up. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, check out them. They'll be on there. Well, is it a pub where you watch it? And is there a many? It will be packed, Edward. To answer your question, it's a so our supporter. In here in America, but majority of cities in almost every state has a supporter pub or supporter club that normally meet at a pub or some type of restaurant. And what we do, if you all watch, it's kind of like a Liverpool Red takeover for that day. And our pub is called Crown Public House, and it is downtown. It's across the street from Chase Park, which is the baseball park, and absolutely is phenomenal location. A big place. It used to be in a smaller venue. Now it's in a bigger venue, which is great. And yeah, it'll be a lot of Reds there, to the point where the game is on at 8:30. I will have to be there probably an hour or so early. So not many people say they're going to a pub at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, but that's what time I will have to get there to make sure I get a spot at a table with some of my friends or fellow Reds, or at least a spot at the bar if need be, if I can't find a spot at the table. So to answer your question, tonight is the call-in show, my people. So yes, if you get a chance, tune into Beijing Reds. They're gonna have the call-in show. I'll try to do that myself later on. Maybe do like if I can be on camera, that'd be great. If not, I'll try to like call in to say hello to my fellow Reds. It's always fun little settings to be on. You never know what and who's gonna pop up on the Beijing Reds show. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, I try to make sure to give them as much publicity here, because they do the same for our show too, and they're very much a welcome family member to the show. So yeah, we are going to, with that, bring it to an end. We will thank you all for joining us. A lot of great numbers. Pops, put in what time it is before we bounce, also, so that everyone knows what time the show's coming up, by the way. But we are going to wish you an incredible TGIF, a TGI Reds F. And we also wish you all a great weekend. Join us tomorrow for this preview. Hopefully join Beijing Pops and the Beijing Reds crew as well in a little bit. But other than that, my people, up the Reds each and every time. Up the Reds. And we will see you guys soon. All right, guys and gals, we will see you all soon. So take care. See you tomorrow, possibly later on today as well. But all the same, see you very, very soon. Big up, big up, big up. And we'll see you soon. Take care, guys.